the skies above are clear of you. So let's tell the world about it now. Happy days, happy nights, happy days are here again.
Okay. Well, I want to take this golden opportunity to thank you for your support. You know, folks, it's rare that you find one on-air personality willing to promote another on-air personality, and I just thank you from the bottom of my heart for that.
Oh, sure. Well,
I really appreciate
I'm just like,
that.
I try to pattern my show on the radio. It's kind of a radio version of the William Pace show on TV, and I didn't even know that before we met.
Good evening, I'm William Pace. Thanks so much for tuning us in tonight. On tonight's show, my special guest is Dan McDowell. He's an on-air personality in Dallas, Texas, and you may remember him in Dayton. He was here in Dayton for a few years, too, before he went to Texas. So good to have you on the show, my buddy.
It's great to see you. You look awesome.
Thank you so much. I want the viewers to know how we met, and maybe you can chime in on that. I had just gotten back from doing a concert in Milwaukee, Racine, Wisconsin, and you know, in all of the concerts that I do, I always say I'm from Dayton, Ohio, home of aviation and Paul Laurence Dunbar. And so somehow we edited that into a show, my show here in Ohio. And I think you caught that show and you had me on as the mystery. You used to have something on the show called the mystery guest, the voice of who is this mystery? Who is this voice? And
I believe we called it Who Said That?
Who said that?
Who Said That?
Yes.
And we would play this and take calls throughout the day and people would guess.
And then I heard that everybody, you know, the lines jammed and everybody recognized the voice, and then somehow I heard about that, and somehow we made a connection, and then you had me on the show, and then you had me do a jingle on the show. Remember that?
I do indeed. Do you still remember it? Can you sing it?
Yes, I do. We're making a first-time call on the radio. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Dan McDowell Show. So, yeah. And so
That's awesome.
we were, you know, I became the jingle on your radio show. And then you had me on several times. And then suddenly you just disappeared. And I sort of learned later that you went to Texas. But let's tell the viewers a little bit about your background, how you started. You're a Buckeye, you're from Ohio, from Cleveland, correct? You went to Ohio University.
Correct.
And then you started in broadcasting, radio. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I started, I guess, in Marietta, Ohio.
Marietta.
That was my first job out of college. And moved over to McConnellsville, Ohio, a very small town there. But they had a small station owned by the guy in Marietta. From there, I went back to Athens for a year. From there, I went to Zanesville for a year. Then I moved back to Cleveland, where I was originally from. Trying to remember all this. It was quite some time ago, and I'm old, as you can see. Then worked for a couple years in Cleveland, and then that radio station was a sports radio station, and it shut down, and I moved to Warren, Ohio, or maybe Youngstown. I don't know if you're familiar with the Warren, but yes. Warren is right next to Youngstown. And worked there for about a year and a half, maybe 2 years, when someone called me and they said they're from Dayton and that they had heard my radio show and they'd like me to come to Dayton and do a test show. So I did the morning show in Warren, Ohio, or Youngstown, and did the morning show one Friday, and then drove across the entire state to Dayton and did the afternoon show in Dayton on WHIO that Friday afternoon, and ended up getting that job, as you know, and then worked there for what, 2 or 3 years, something like that.
Something like that, yes.
Until mid-1999. I left in 1999. Came to Dallas, and I've been here ever since. Same station.
Wonderful, wonderful. So tell me, what is Dallas like there?
It's a big city, you know. It's the number 5 market, I think, in the United States, if that's something that you care about or know about, but there's lots of people. It's very spread out, very, very big. You know, to get across, it's over an hour to get across the whole Metroplex area they call Dallas-Fort Worth, the Metroplex. And I live kind of in the middle of that, right near the airport.
Wow.
And yeah, it's you know, it's Texas. It's highly Republican. It's but it's a big city, you know, it's a big city feel. So, and I work for a sports radio station, so there's always something going on with the Dallas Cowboys or the Mavs or something like that. So there's always something to talk about.
Wonderful. So tell me that so much has happened since in the 22, 23 years.
Can I ask you something?
Sure.
Is that your real hair?
Yes, it's my real hair.
Because that's great to hold on to your hair that long.
Yes, it's my hair. And, you know,
mine was thinning, and eventually I had to just take it all off, or else it would look silly.
It's mine. I've had to doctor it up. It isn't easy trying to be tall, dark, and handsome. And so I had to take care of some of the gray today.
Right.
And it's a job trying to look tall, dark, and handsome. But what can I say?
You've handled it well. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's been your burden.
Say what?
That's been your burden in life.
Yes, trying to be tall, dark, and handsome. I said that one time in a concert. I was singing, I said, folks, it isn't easy trying to be tall, dark, and handsome, but I just got to keep trying. And that got a big laugh from the audience. So, I like to think of myself as ageless, timeless, energetic, so that's the image I try to project to people. More with Dan McDowell when we return. Stay right there.
The William Pace Show on CATV.
Hello, I'm William Pace, and thanks so much for tuning us in tonight. My special guest is Dan McDowell, a radio personality. He used to be here in Dayton. You might remember him.
No one remembers me.
Oh, sure they do. Sure they do. Many people remember you here. You made an impression upon the Miami Valley here, and I'm sure that many people that are tuning in tonight will remember you, and I'm sure that will want to get in contact with you too and want to catch up where you've been and what you've been doing. And speaking of what you've been doing in this time since you left Dayton, you got married. Is that correct?
I did. Yes. I tricked someone.
You tricked someone.
Tricked her into marrying me, yeah. Well, I got pregnant. That's what I did.
Oh.
So I forced her into a shotgun wedding, yeah.
Oh, you had a shotgun wedding.
That's all made up, William.
Made up, okay.
Everything I just said was made up.
Okay. So you got married. And so you have 2 children, 2 daughters, right?
That is correct.
Tell us about your children.
They're old now. They used to be a lot more fun, but now they turned into teenagers, which is different than when they're small. When you have small kids, they do what you say, and they think that you know everything. And then the opposite is when they get older, and now they're older. One of my daughters is in the band, the marching band for Clemson University.
Okay.
So if you're ever watching a football game, you might get a glimpse of her. It's very odd because she'll ask us to watch the game and look for her. And she's one of 200 kids, with an instrument, and you have zero idea who she is, but we pretend and we tell her that we saw her, that she was great. But no, they're a lot of fun. They're fun. It's good times. But now they're older, and now I got to figure out what I'm going to do. Maybe I'll get me a nice young wife, like so many people do, and just have kids all over again. And I'll be the old dad.
So what kind of, growing up is a difficult time for children. And so, what kind of father were you when they were growing up? Were you patient? Did you ever have to go into the room and say, I told you to turn this down?
Yeah, sure. I would not say that I'm a strict disciplinarian. I'd be the opposite of that. But hopefully they'll have nice memories of me. That he was fun to hang around with. And but who knows? You don't know. History will write itself in some way. But I'm just trying to, I don't believe in corporal punishment. Let's say that. So I believe, I've never believed in hitting your kids not just because I was hit and I did not like it, but I've also always thought when it comes to that, it's kind of the way I feel about coaching as well. Like you'll hear of coaches in sports that scream and yell and, profanity laced tirades at players to make them play better. And I always think, well, what if your kid was having trouble with math and or calculus or something, and so when they kept messing up, somebody hit them or spanked them for it or screamed in their face? Would that be something you'd accept? And I don't think that it would. So I've tried to be, I've tried to live in that way. So I don't think I've done a lot of good things in life, but I think that's one thing that I would say is good.
So you feel pretty good about how you reared your children?
Well, we'll see, right? They might turn out to be terrible. And I don't know how much is nature versus nurture. There has to be something to, because I don't know if you have this, but I have, my wife is the same as me in that we both have a brother that's a couple years apart, grew up in the exact same household, but totally opposite than me, So I have a brother. We were reared the same way, but we're incredibly different. So does it matter what you do as a parent? I wonder if it does or not.
Yeah, so you try to give good values and instill good values into them, but then you don't really know how that will work out then.
Yeah, because then they become their own person. And
Right.
they can either adhere to things you said or not. You've seen guys or people turn out to be great humans who had terrible parents.
Yep.
And you've seen people turn out to be train wrecks of humans who had, very straight-laced parents. So
Yeah.
I don't know, but, statistics would tell you kids that come from a broken home or whatever have a worse chance to make it. So maybe it is important in some way, but I don't know how much. I don't know how much to give weight to the nurturing part of it.
Do you think that they will follow your footsteps?
Into radio or entertainment of some sort?
Yes.
I don't know. My one daughter is in the marching band. The other daughter is more of she's in theater, but she's behind the scenes. She doesn't want to be up on stage. She's tech, and she really loves that. She likes bossing people around and, telling them what to do. She's probably like your producer. Is Joe your producer?
No, I got a good producer.
Joe's just telling me what to do. He's bossing me around. He's telling me everything. So she's more of the Joe to me
she
being
may
William
be
Pace.
she may be someone that would be behind the scenes then.
Right.
Good at that.
I think so. I think that's where but who knows? They're so young. Nowadays, it seems like you're trying to force teenagers into figuring out what your whole life plan is now. And, that's when your brain is pretty messed up. Everything's kind of crazy anyway. So to ask them to map out their whole life,
They don't know.
I try to tell them, life is long. You can change your whole career or identity when you're 40. So don't be in such a hurry. Just, live life, have fun.
Wonderful. Well, I know that you have a lot of opinions about things. And so when we return, I want to hear what you think about some of the hot issues that are going on in America now. More with Dan McDowell when we return. Stay with us.
The William Pace Show through the years has been a beacon of light to the Miami Valley and beyond, taking you to such destinations as the Navy Pier Palma Hilton Palace Hotel, German Village, Showboat, Majestic Theater, Ohio Village and Chrome Conservatory. There's always something cooking in the kitchen on the William Pace Show. Some of the biggest stars and entertainers like B.B. King, Jimmy Walker, Bob Carlyle, Patti Austin, and Mr. T have appeared on the William Pace Show. Tune in the William Pace Show on CATV.
Good evening, I'm William Pace. Thanks so much for tuning in the William Pace Show tonight. My special guest is Dan McDowell. So good to have you here, my buddy. I know that you have a lot of opinions about things, so I would like to ask you, what are some of your opinions about the way of the world today? Some of the things that have gone down, like COVID. I guess we could start with COVID, because I understand that you were afflicted with that.
I actually got it twice because I liked it so much the first time. Yeah.
Wow.
It was so fun. I loved laying in a room for 2 weeks, not moving, feeling like it's the worst thing I've ever been through. So I tried really hard to get it again.
Were you in the hospital?
I was not in the hospital. So I kind of think I had it easy because I've heard of so many people that were on ventilators or, close to death. I have a friend who's my co-host on The Ticket. I work on The Ticket in Dallas. And my co-host, Jake, his mom got it and was in the hospital for over a month on a ventilator. One of his grandparents, or two of his grandparents, died of COVID. So although it was what I consider to be the worst thing I've ever gone through, I do think I got off light. So I feel happy for that. The second time I got it was actually just this Christmas. Mm-hmm. I didn't even ask for it, but I got that for Christmas. Which was a nice surprise gift. But it was more like I had severe allergies for a couple of days. It was very limited, but of course I am, double vaxxed. So I think that helped in the second time around.
You've had your vaccinations and you've had your booster.
Of course.
Okay.
Not the booster yet, because I was on the line of, I should go get my booster now, but then I got COVID.
Okay.
So now I'm not totally familiar with the science. I haven't done my own research as many have done on Facebook, but I don't believe I need to get the booster right away if I just had COVID.
Okay.
So I think you have antibodies or something like that.
Well, I've had both my vaccinations. I've had both of them. And I have been boosted. So
have you had COVID?
No, and I don't want it.
Okay, you've avoided it. You have not had COVID.
When I'm heavily masked, when I'm out in the public, and I'm very concerned about this, and really concerned that people aren't taking it very serious. And what would you say to those people, having had the COVID, what would you say to the people that don't take it serious?
It's a bad idea. I kind of listen to, scientists, over like a guy that I heard it from, and it just seems kind of ridiculous. I don't get too worked up about it, William. Certainly, I have the opinion inside that it's very silly, these people that are denying vaccines, but
it's one thing.
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate.
It's one thing if you don't believe it, but then it's another thing to give it to somebody else,
right,
who may be compromised in some way.
Right. That's the difference of, the seatbelt law. The people that complain about having to wear a mask or getting vaccinated, well, they should rip out their seatbelts then, because you're forced to do that. That's a law, but it's not affecting anyone else, I guess, except the insurance companies if you should die in a crash. So it's crazy, man. I can't even believe where we're at, and it's so much that I have. I'm sure you can become desensitized to it. Like, I do care, but I don't care. Like, I don't. It's so much out of your control, William.
It really is out of your control.
You have a lot of problems in life that you can control.
Yes.
So should you focus on those and not the ones you can do nothing about?
Absolutely. I understand where you're coming from, because this last 3 years, with so much divisiveness and the problems that we are facing, and it seems like in Congress and in the Senate they can't seem to agree on anything. And so what is your take on that? What would you think they need to do?
I think I'm the wrong guy to ask about that.
I know you got an opinion.
I think I'm the wrong guy to ask about that. I really don't get into the weeds on it. I don't know what they should do. I think they should, I would just like it all to go away, because no matter what I think, they're not going to do it. So I long for the old days when we just had sexual scandals in the White House and we could worry about that. Weren't those fun?
I guess I don't have a comment on that, but one thing I would say is that I still believe people need to vote. I really do, even though sometimes we may question, does our vote really count? And I wonder about that too. But then I think about the women of Seneca Falls, and who didn't have a right to vote, didn't have a say. And I think about all the black people who fought and shed blood to just have a right to say, a vote. So it's in their honor that I vote. Sometimes I don't feel, you're picking between the lesser of the two evils sometimes.
Yeah, but that is what it is. So I try not to, I agree with everything you said, but it's heavy stuff, and
that it is.
I try to have fun.
Yeah. And that's where I am too these days. There's some scriptures that I cling to, and it says, "Count it all as joy." You see, and don't let things pull you down, and cling to your joy. And be encouraged.
You're an inspirational guy, William. You really are.
Thank you.
I remember first meeting you in Dayton over 20 years ago, and just thought, there's a guy who is just plowing straight ahead.
Thank you.
You're an inspiration to many people, I'm sure.
Thank you. I really feel that this is my call, really. I must tell you something quickly, and we're almost out of time, but the more I do this show, the more I'm aware that God has me here for a reason to say something. And you had left this area, but several years, somewhere around 2005, 6, somewhere in there was a lady that was chasing me down an aisleway at a grocery store, Cubs Foods. And she said, I saved her life. And I didn't know, what are you talking about? Saved her. And that lady was going to commit suicide that night. And it was in the days when we were on WUCT Channel 51, I believe. And we had started some inspirational moments on the show. And something I said, I don't even know what I said that made her not take her life. But then it was in that moment that God showed me that it's about empowering people. It's about lifting people up. It's about encouraging people. So that's what I try to do.
That's great.
I would love for you to be on the show again, come back, and let's stay connected, Dan. We were disconnected for many years, and I'm so glad that I reached out to you, and I'm so glad that you agreed to be on the show. And so let's stay connected.
Okay, we'll make it less than 20 years next time.
We're going to make an oath to make sure that we stay connected. Thank you so much, my buddy, for being on the program tonight. Thank you.
Thanks for having me, man.
There's more to come on The William Pace Show. Stay with us. The William Pace Show on CATV.
On a clear day, rise and look around you, and you'll see who you are. On a clear day, how it will astound you that the glow of your being outshines every star you feel a part of. Every mountain, sea, and shore, you can hear from far and near a world you'd never heard before. And on that clear day, you can see forever and ever and evermore. On a clear day, how it will astound you that the glow of your being outshines every star you feel a part of. Every mountain, sea, and shore, you can hear from far and near a world you've never heard before. And on that clear day, on that clear